Okay, it's time now for French Connections, our weekly look at the intricacies of French life. And here in studio to discuss is Florence Villemino. Hi, Florence. Now, today we're focusing on a very thorny topic that has been in the news a lot over the last few weeks and months, the age of sexual consent. It's a debate that rages time and again in France. Campaigners are calling for an age of sexual consent to be enshrined in law as it is in the rest of the European Union.
It is a touchy subject. Yeah. It's really the topic of the day. The word du jour as well, consent, le consentement in French. Now, surprising as it may be, as it stands in France, there is no official age of consent. That is to say, there is no age under which a child is deemed unable to agree to having sex. And this puts France in a very particular position compared to other countries where legal codes specify that children below a certain age cannot legally give consent to sex. And so having sex with a person below that age is automatically considered rape. There is no question of interpretation. This is what we often call statutory rape. You can see it here. This is what other ages of consent are around the world. In the United States, it depends on the state. It's between 16 and 18. Austria and Italy have fixed it at 14, Denmark 15, Germany, Belgium, the UK, and Spain 16.
So other countries have offences of statutory rape, but in France you cannot be convicted of rape based purely on age.
That's right. And the laws around this issue are very complex. I'm going to try to walk you through them. Currently, the law does criminalize sexual relations with a minor under the age of 15, but it's not automatically considered rape. To be considered rape, let's take a look at the French law. Rape is defined as sexual penetration under violence, duress, threat, or surprise, regardless of the victim's age. And so this means that a person having sex with a child can only be convicted of rape if prosecutors can prove there was violence, coercion, threat, or surprise, so absence of consent. Otherwise, the person could be accused or charged rather with sexual violation. The maximum sentence for sexual violation is 7 years compared to 20 years for rape. So there is a big difference here. Essentially, French law leaves a lot of room open to interpretation.
And currently, Flo, the French government, they're seeking to enshrine in law 15 as the minimum age of consent, but it's not the first time attempts have been made to do so.
Indeed, this is a debate that comes up a lot, and especially in the wake of the Me Too movement, France really began to scrutinize its laws around child sex abuse as well as its somewhat libertine attitude towards sex. The then Minister of Gender Equality, Marlène Schiappa, she tried to fix the age of consent at 15. This fell through due to legal complications. It's coming up again, and what was true then is true now. That is to say that while on the one hand there is this widespread consensus that introducing a statutory age of consent will protect minors, a lot of other people fear that changing the law will actually criminalize consensual sex between young people. Take a listen.
Il arrive, ce sont des cas peut-être marginaux, peut-être limites, qu'il y ait des relations consenties entre un mineur de moins de 15 ans et une personne qui va être adulte de 18, 19 ans, etc. Là, la loi va nécessairement qualifier ces faits-là de viol. Et donc, on est dans une fausse réponse à une problématique réelle.
Now, the government does say that there will be an exception for young people in a relationship with a 5-year age buffer.
Okay, it's a real minefield. Now, why is the issue of the age of consent coming up again? Why this national reckoning, Flo?
Well, there have been a number of high-profile cases of sexual violence against children that have really been in the public, including a case of a prize-winning writer, a prominent modeling agent, a predatory priest, a surgeon, a group of firefighters also accused of systematically sexually abusing a young woman. Now, and on top of that, France has been shaken by a series of allegations of incestuous abuse, notably against one of the country's best-connected political scientists, a man named Olivier Duhamel. Now, France does not have a particular problem when it comes to child sex abuse compared to other countries, but there has been somewhat of a long-standing culture of silence around sexual abuse. It's still considered something that's very taboo, but things seem to be changing. Recently, for instance, there was a campaign on social media where people shared their own stories under the hashtag MeTooIncest, and even the president weighed in on the issue.
La honte aujourd'hui change de camp. Et à vous qui vous êtes libérés d'un fardeau que vous avez trop longtemps porté, à vous qui allez le faire et parfois hésiter, je veux juste vous dire, on est là. On vous écoute. On vous croit. et vous ne serez plus jamais seul.
Yeah, the government really did take this issue. They took the ball on the hop and have tried to respond to it responsibly. Now, in the case of incest in particular, the Justice Minister wants to fix the age of consent at 18 years. Florence.
That's right. And that means that a victim who's a minor won't have to prove that an act of incest from a family member was non-consensual, as is currently the case.
On posait la question au mineur de savoir s'il s'était débattu, s'il avait crié, s'il avait dit non, s'il avait cherché à s'enfuir. Or, un mineur de 17 ans qui est agressé par son père, il n'y aura pas de bagarre, il n'y aura pas de violence physique, il n'y aura pas de cris, il n'y aura pas d'opposition parce que l'agresseur est le père.
Now, currently, victims of childhood incest have until they're 48 to file complaints, so 30 years after they become 18, adults essentially. Some are calling for that limit to be permanently lifted. But if you look at the figures in France, it's really chilling. A recent poll, for instance, found that 1 in 10 French people say that they were a victim of incest as a child. 1 in 10 people. So this is a very important topic that is being addressed.
Huge, and of course, naturally a taboo topic. So when the spotlight is put on it and there's some legislating, I think it can only be welcomed. Thanks for that, Florence. And for more French Connections, check out our website, france24.com/en, and go to the French Connections page for all previous episodes.